Like, where to go with this? We just had a flow of conversation that we were just in, talking about stabilizing income.
Yeah, we're talking about stabilizing income, how we want to project our future, you know, and how we want to manifest it. Because basically, we've just been traveling. I've been been traveling, and the things that I've been doing before, you know, it's a different now because I'm more of a moving state now and have been in a different location. So, but the vision really is, you know, make it really like freedom-wise movement, you know, that I don't need to be in a specific location. And that's why I knew Jonny, and we also connected because we felt that kind of vision now.
Yes.
No wonder we also meet in Thailand where it's legalized weed, and you know.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that we were both here because we're on a very similar path of escaping conformity, the box that you're put in by society straight away as soon as you go into the education system, or as soon as you're born, really. And like, I never really liked being told what to do ever. I was told like I have to think a certain way.
Yeah,
that's not education. That's manipulation and brainwashing. You know, teach me about a subject by all means, and then I'll make my own decisions about it, and I'll make my own decisions on what I want to pursue. And I think what we were saying earlier, if as long as I'm not hurting anybody, why am I not allowed to smoke a plant? Why am I not allowed to eat a mushroom? If it's just me that's getting affected, doesn't make sense. It's such an old way of doing things.
Yeah.
So someone dictates to the rest of the people. I'm smarter than you, so I'm going to tell you what you can and can't do. Nah, fuck that, mate. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's finding a way to sustain that ability to move freely outside of the system. And
why do you think it's not allowed?
Because of the perspective it gives your mind.
Gives you perspective.
Yeah, and it gives you it like pulls back the curtain of illusion. So you start seeing things like that are normal in society, but you start seeing them from a much higher perspective, and you're like, why is that normal? We shouldn't be doing things like that. It's like arcane, which is like old. I think that's right. Yeah, it's an old way of doing things that is completely dictatorial. It's like coming from one source, one person who's then spreads that out to everyone else, so they have to behave a certain way.
But if you come to think of it, it's been illegalized around 1980s, 1960s, right?
Yes.
So basically, the plant itself was not that regulated before.
No, you're right. Correct.
So,
but a lot of people, I think, didn't know about it, and I think more people know about it now.
Yeah, and maybe it has been a very alarming time around 1960s as well.
Was it 70s that they made it illegal?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had that whole free love movement where people were thinking feeling the same things we're feeling.
I think they were
wanting to not be part of the society in the way it's set up, being anti-war, anti-government.
Yeah, they noticed.
They shut that down.
They knew about it. They were also self-aware, you know.
Yeah.
I think the people who was also wanting to try to manipulate and control the mass was also intelligent in a way that they understand that these kinds of plants or medicine could also be a very way for them to break out of the matrix and for them to capitalize on it. They want you to be brainwashed, right?
Of course. Well, they don't benefit from you being open-minded, being able to think for yourself. Critical thinking is the enemy in their eyes. That's why conditioning is so important to the plan for them. They have to say the same thing on the news every day. They have to get it in your subconscious mind all the time. Same. We saw it with COVID. Every single day, bro. Same thing. These people are dying. This is happening. Bad. This is your way out. Here, we have the way out. Vaccination. So, and people were so like panicked by it.
Yeah.
And that constant fear being pumped into them, that they looked for the only way out, and the government offered the only way out, back to normal.
And also, you're confirming, right? It's like go get vaccine, and then you're confirming. And so basically, you know, it's like a psychology as well. When you're confirming little by little, you're basically the next time when the government asks you for something, you're just gonna conform as well because you think that, oh, I've done this before. I'm comfortable. I was okay with it, and then conforming. So I think
there's comfort in conforming. Doing what everyone else is doing, it feels comfortable.
Yeah, actually, in my place in the Philippines, it's common for like society to choose a president, the upcoming president, based on just the word of mouth and
what other people say about it.
Yeah, like no. This is what This is what I'm saying. Their family name was very much like represented. Like if your family name was already been known for having
voted one certain way.
So probably let's vote for the son because this means like
yes.
Because I know in other like America they don't, it's probably different.
It's slightly different, but there is like families that
there's still family
have multiple people in.
I think it's much more common in my country, which they allow like continuing the generation.
It makes sense because if you have a person who's a good leader, strong leader, you would think that they're gonna impress that on their child, imprint that same behavior.
Well, that's the thing. They're gonna make a strong child, but sometimes it could also unleash the dark side in them. Because actually, in my I know one ex-president, which he has eldest son, which is he has like 4 maybe son and daughter, but the eldest one he doesn't want him. He doesn't market his eldest son because his eldest son was really a bit very sinister. He was a bit like mafia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but his father, the president, is known to be really clean. Nothing dark.
Yeah, I can see why he doesn't market his son. That's his image.
Yeah, so that's what we were talking about. Like we're talking about son. There could be like stronger. Yeah, he was strong. He was not doing it like in a legal way. He was bad. He was bad person.
Working from a place of hate.
Yeah,
which is also like a possibility because if you have someone who's president, they're gonna be very, very busy all the time, dealing with stuff all the time. Something new's coming across their desk all the time. People are coming up to them, I need you to make a decision on this. How much time do you have for a child?
Yeah.
When you're doing that? Probably not much.
Yeah.
So that's going to negatively affect your child.
And because you have the wealth to back that up when you're a child, so you think that you're playing with money, you're playing with power, and that's the thing, And just crazy story like that. And why were we in this topic? President, why were we talking about this? Where did it started? Where did this root from?
Fucking stoners, bro.
Yeah, it's just a stoner thing, Just continuing the conversation because we were talking about the Matrix as well. We were talking about the Matrix and about the psychedelics. Psychedelics and the confirming. And
there was. I mean, you saw how powerful. Personally, for me, I saw how powerful conditioning and propaganda were during COVID. I was going a long time without having conversations with anyone who thought it was like not right. Everyone was just saying, "Oh it's terrible. People are dying. People are getting really sick. It's a really scary time. We don't know when we're going to be going back to normal." And I was just like, I was blown away that people couldn't see anything about it. No red flags. And I'll talk to people about it. And be like, okay, well,
red flags about what?
About the whole lockdown and the whole thing, COVID. As a whole. Like, for example, just one thing on the news when they would put the deaths up, and it was like a live count of how many deaths there were. It would say death for any cause of death within 28 days of testing positive for COVID. So if you tested positive for COVID with these PCR tests that it's questionable. It's questionable that they even worked for it. Like people were testing all sorts of things and it's come back positive. If you tested positive with that and died after that within 28 days for any reason, got hit by a car, had a heart attack, you got put down as a COVID death. And the hospitals were getting money for it. Hospitals were getting money to do it. So of course there was loads of COVID deaths.
Yeah, there was also a story.
It was a story like that in America, a story like that probably in most places. But just that thing where I'd be like, look, it says death of any cause, 28 days were tested positive from this. I'll tell people that. I'd be like, yeah, that is weird. Okay, so you don't want to like investigate anymore. They're like, well, no, you know, like people are dying. Like, I know people that have had COVID. It's like, yeah, you know people that have COVID. Are they dead? No, they're not dead, are they? They're alive. And I, personally, again, this is my personal experience, I did not know one single person that had COVID until after vaccination. So after the first round of vaccinations. And then I knew people that got COVID. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, like, I remember I was in the midst of it, I was back at work at this point, and someone came in to buy firewood, and I had a good rapport with them, husband and wife. We spoke about a lot of things, good conversations, and we started getting into it. Like COVID just flowed, the conversation flowed naturally. No one directed it there, and it was such relief. I felt I was like, I'm not crazy. Like I was genuinely starting to question myself because everyone around me was conforming to the narrative, and I was questioning it all, everything, and seeing all these holes in it, and just being like, how can you not see this? How can you not see it? And people telling me, a woman I know very well, who I work with, told me that I was killing people because I wasn't vaccinated. I was going out after she'd been vaccinated.
Yeah.
So what? You're not safe. Your vaccine doesn't work then, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was very, very refreshing to hear that. But it just showed me like the manipulation is very strong. The general populace are in a hive mind. They're just completely captured in the mind because they're not programming their own mind. They're not doing affirmations. They're not checking their thoughts, trying to correct themselves mentally up here to be only thinking positively. They're not doing that. They're just getting drawn wherever the narrator is taking them.
Yeah.
Just following the story.
Where were you at?
Huh?
Where were you at when it happened? Like how did you experience it? Like for you?
Well, the first lockdown.
Yeah, like the first lockdown. Like,
Yeah,
really,
so
like, everyone was shocked.
Everyone was shocked. Yeah, no one expected it. So we obviously heard about this COVID. You know, you've seen the videos from China of people like dropping down in the street.
Months before.
Yeah, well, not even months. I think probably 8 months before, maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
And then started getting in the news. Oh, one case in Manchester reported. Oh, another case in fucking London, and they'll be like, oh, there's 5 people that have it here. And we didn't shut the borders. We let everyone in because obviously they wanted to spread it.
Yeah.
Obviously. So they let people in. It started spreading. So people were getting fear built up, and then they locked it down. 2 weeks. They said 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? And that is like the curve of infections going up. So they said they want to flatten that, yeah? So level it out. So they go 2 weeks lock it down. That first lockdown was 4 weeks, I think, by the end of it, and I was still getting paid. So I stopped going to work. I was getting paid like 80% of my pay. The weather was really nice early in the year, which is surprising for England. So I was like, this is lovely. 2 weeks off, no one's out. I was going out, you know, riding my bike and out with my mates, smoking joints. Yeah. And there was no one out, and it was cool. You couldn't hear any cars. Like, that was very surprising to me. There's a lot of cars driving around all the time. I couldn't hear any. It was peaceful. Yeah. So that was nice. And then I went back to work for one day. That evening I was riding my bike with my dad. I let him take my bike because it was better than the other shit one. Hopped off a curb, front wheel went under the bike, flipped over, broke my collarbone, snapped this bone, cleaned it in half. So I had 4 weeks off for the lockdown, and then I had another 2 months off. And for me, that was a time of great spiritual growth and time of healing. I was very upset when I broke my collarbone. I'd fractured it before, but not snapped it. I broke it. And by the time from break, getting back to my house, in the car on the way to the hospital, a big sense of relief was like all throughout my body. I was like, right, this has happened now. Nothing I can do about it. I just have to focus on getting better. And I spent a lot of time sitting in the sun. It was nice weather outside in my garden, in nature, barefoot on the grass, being grateful for the time off away from work where I wasn't happy, in a time of relaxation and healing.
Yeah.
And I was just focusing on my collarbone and my shoulder feeling strong in every position, good mobility, strength, healing, and I got it back. It come back, and it was a bad break, and they didn't do anything about it.
Oh.
It was a break like that, and they told me to go home and take painkillers, and it would heal itself. So yeah, this shoulder's a bit shorter than this one, but it works. You know, I can do everything. I can handstand, I can do press ups, handstand press ups, overhead press, because I rehabbed it every day as well, 3 times a day. They said do it twice a day, do it 3 times a day, every day. It's getting good sunlight outside.
How long was the COVID in your place?
So they had one lockdown, which was 4 weeks, I believe. Then it was kind of back to normal, masks and that everywhere, and then another lockdown for, I can't remember exactly how long, but a few weeks again.
And so you got work in between?
I worked through the second one as well.
Yeah.
But
just for a few weeks.
Well, it was just like you had to be distanced at work and like all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was at a small company, and if we weren't there running, there was no money, so we had to be there. So we were working. So I only didn't work for the 2 weeks, and then so like 12 weeks of work for the lockdown and injury. And then I was back at work for the other lockdowns. But yeah, it just got less and less. Like people gave a shit less and less. More people were rebelling against it. People were in the streets.
I think you guys were faster because in the Philippines it took longer, like probably 2 years maybe.
It was spanned over a long time, where it was like lockdown, masks, all the regulations, rules, whatever,